Good morning.
Hello.
Oh.
Immediately.
Yeah, you know what? Perfect. We're not cutting that. Good morning, good day, and good evening. I'm as always your host, Brody Robertson. Hopefully, this is the worst part, right? Like that was just you stepping over the words. Like you are the closest person I've had on this show. Have I had an Australian? Yeah, well, yeah, okay. I've had some mates from uni. Besides my mates from uni, I've never had anyone this close. So there is no excuse today for us to have any latency issues. Anyway, putting that to the side, today we're talking about something that I feel like a lot of people just haven't really acknowledged for a while, and that being Pine, because today we have the Pine community manager on to talk about, well, I guess no point really me explaining it. How about you just talk about who you are and then what Pine is, and sort of we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. So, hi, my name is Camden. I'm the current community manager and the Pine64 community manager. And I am from New Zealand, so right next to him. We have a bit of a feud, actually, but we're going to mend those relations today, I
Mm-hmm,
hope.
mm-hmm.
I've been the community manager for a little over, a little under a year now.
Okay.
And so I've been contributing for a bit over like 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I've been in the community since 2020. So I've been around.
Right, but having more of an official role is a more recent thing.
Yes, yes.
So for anyone who might be entirely unaware of Pine, because I feel like the people who've been using Linux for a while probably have, heard about it, maybe knew about the PinePhone, stuff like that. But for anyone who maybe started using it ever since like the Steam Deck came out, or maybe more recently with the Steam Machine, I feel a lot of people probably don't know what Pine is and what they've done.
Yeah, sure. So basically, Pine is you know, they make open source hardware.
Mm-hmm.
They make a lot of like Linux devices, embedded devices, like home devices. They make a bunch of like really random stuff. And the difference between like Pine and other companies is that they do not have any developers.
Mm-hmm.
The community is basically the developer base for the devices, right?
Right.
And that can be a really good thing. So that can keep the prices down for Pine stores, like hardware and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But people have to actually want to work on them.
Yeah.
So that can be like if people aren't on board with like the hardware idea, then there's going to be nobody there. So for example, there is a device called the Pine Cam. It was like, an IP camera.
Mm-mm-mm.
It was an interesting idea, but the board that it's based on, so they used an existing board called the Oz64.
Mm-hmm.
They went nowhere.
Right. So it's this issue where you can make the hardware, you can sort of put things out there, but if nobody is sort of backing it, it's like it's cool, but like, you need someone to sort of get that snowball rolling, because
Yeah,
when people
exactly.
start building stuff, then more stuff will be built and then goes from there. But if nobody is really doing that initial first step, right, like nothing's really going to start from that point.
Yeah, basically. So that's why the Pine Cam failed.
Mm-hmm.
And other devices, like the more exciting devices, like the Pine Note, they have had a lot more recent development.
Which one, sorry?
After getting the Pine Note. So
Oh,
that's
Pine
the
Note. Okay, yep.
Yep. So that's the one that recently got
tablet.
recently got a like a proper second batch,
Mm-hmm.
and then a lot of development started after that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Pine's been around for a while at this point, hasn't it? I'm forgetting which year it
Yes.
started.
I think it was like 2014
Yeah, something like.
with the Pine64, like the $10
Mm-hmm.
single board computer. That was the original.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like Pine was, especially a couple of years ago, I heard quite a lot about Pine. Like that was when people were talking about the PinePhone and the what was the laptop? The Pinebook. The Pinebook. Yes.
Pinebook Pro, yeah.
Yes. There was a lot of discussion around that. Like, these are really cool devices, and then at some point, I kind of just stopped hearing about Pine. And I feel like that's sort of directly related to a big thing you wanted to talk about here. But I don't know if you want to get into that first, or you want to talk more about what your role as a community manager is. And
oh, sure. Oh, yeah, I can do that. I would like to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So as a community manager currently, I'm not really like what people would consider like a technical community manager. I'm kind of a people person rather than like doing a lot of the development. Mm-hmm. I do like blog posts, I do like documentation writing and all of that kind of thing, but mainly I'm like interacting with the community, making sure that people are getting hardware. So I found out like a while ago that Gadget Bridge, the software that connects to the PineTime on Android, none of the developers actually had a PineTime.
Oh.
So we sent them a couple of them.
Oh, actually, no, one of them didn't make it. I do know this one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so basically what I do is that I find projects and I'm like, hey, would you like some free hardware?
Mm-hmm.
Like where it would make sense, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because you can't really support... Well, okay. Assuming there is good documentation, you can support it without having the device, but having it there is always going to be better, because then sometimes the documentation doesn't fully line up. Maybe there's parts where things are not being documented, or there are bugs and various things like that. So actually having the device in front of you, that is the easiest way to be able to properly ensure the software is actually working on it. And if you have the hardware there, it sort of acts as a incentive to work more on that specific support.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you get your mates to like do all the testing for you, and you're it's just easier to have the device on you so you actually know what's going on in real time. It just not having it on you wastes a lot of time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's basically like one of the really important things, because let's be honest, paying a developer is a lot of money. Let's just give people free hardware. That doesn't cost as much for Pine, just giving away devices. So that is what they do, basically, is that they will give hardware to projects and all of that.
Right. And has that been was that the strategy before you were there as well, or is that more of a recent thing?
No, they've always given out hardware to projects and all of that. They sponsor a lot of hardware for, they've done that for Postmarket and all that. We've done it. I've done it personally for a few projects. So, Quill OS, which is a operating system for the Pine Note, and Pine Notes for the Arch Linux image. So there's been a lot of work on that from a few individuals.
A Postmarket, for anyone who doesn't know, is a mobile Linux distro. Just in case anyone's unaware.
And a few other individual developers who do like a lot of upstreaming work, we will send them hardware as well. Yeah.
Right. If there's someone who is clearly, I guess, the pillar of a project, or the pillar of a bunch of different projects, and they sort of like contribute around to a lot of different places, it kind of makes sense to, I guess, single them out as someone to like directly provide support to, right? If they're doing like
exactly
10x the work of everyone else, like they're like the person who you really want to like encourage more and support, and get as much work with as how would I say it? Give as much encouragement as you can to, basically.
Exactly. You want to encourage them as much as possible, and that's as much as I can do.
Sure.
And in terms of like, because I don't actually like have much affiliation at all with Pine Store.
Right.
So actually, I want to explain that.
Yeah. Okay. I'd like to hear that.
So I'm community manager of Pine64, which is the community part. So I
Okay.
basically make sure the community members are, all good,
Mhm.
treated right, and all of that. And Pine Store is the actual company.
Mhm.
So Pine Store Limited, they make the hardware and all of that.
Mhm.
They're originally based in California,
Mhm.
but then due to basically like sending money overseas and all of that back and forth
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is difficult, and tax and all of that. So
Mhm. Mhm.
they just ended up moving it to Hong Kong instead, and that's alleviated. So
Mhm. Mhm.
technically, still the founder lives in California, but you know, the company is just now in Hong Kong.
Right, right. So I'd assume they would have like the same. It was just like one single thing. I actually didn't know there was this separation here. I think a lot of people
I've been
probably don't even know.
trying, yeah. I've been trying to get this out for a while. Like ever since I've like started doing stuff, I've been using the terms Pine Store and like Pine64 community. That's why our Mastodon is called Pine64 community, not just Pine64.
Mm-hmm.
We are the community making the content, and not just content, but like doing all of the documentation work and all of that
Mm-hmm.
on like for Pine Store products.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Right. I guess that makes sense because I did see when the PinePhone Pro was discontinued, there were a bunch of comments on the Mastodon post under that being like, why was this not announced? Like, and trying to. There was a lot of confusion why there was not more explanation from the community account. But I guess the separation trying to make here is that this was something that was coming from the company side of things. This is not something the community itself had control over.
Okay, I think I remember what happened there.
Okay.
I think we started talking about it, and then that got out before I actually made a proper announcement.
Okay, that doesn't help
So I
either.
actually feel really bad about that because I should be making the announcement first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then people found out beforehand that they like officially discontinued the device. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get to that. And then someone else, like there's one of the reporters or something, I don't remember who it was, did it before me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's maybe a bad example then, but
No, it's fine.
sure.
It is an example.
I I didn't mean it to be that. I thought that's what went
No,
on
no,
there.
no, it's fine.
If I'm wrong there, like that, yeah, I'll take that back. But like the idea here is that the company doesn't have direct oversight of the community, and the community doesn't directly control the company. They are two separate entities.
Yes. And there is a really difficult thing about that.
Hmm.
We aren't allowed to talk to any Pine Store employees except for the founder. And there is a very important reason why.
Mm-hmm.
So the founder acts as a filter for us
Right.
through NDAs. So
Okay.
he knows what he can tell us. But, and in case we like hear anything that we're not supposed to know.
Okay, I guess that sounded worse when you initially said it, but I that makes sense, right? Because there's going to be contracts which have not been made public. There are going to be contracts which were being discussed that never went through. When we're dealing, especially with phone hardware, there's a lot of weirdness on what you can and cannot publish there. I know there's always been weirdness with like the modem in the phones for your mobile network. So there's definitely a lot of like inter-company stuff that you wouldn't want to just have sort of put out there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the reason why Pine Store isn't allowed to ship the open modem firmware on the PinePhone.
Mm-hmm,
Is because of, all of that legal stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't understand it.
This is like a really, really old discussion. I think I might have made a video on it a very, very long time ago. Because I feel like, was it? I don't know if you know this. I'm not sure how much you know about like stuff that's happened before you were involved with Pine. I
Oh, I've
believe.
had a lot of discussions.
Okay. Because I believe there was. Didn't the FSF specifically have problems with defining the PinePhone as a free software device? I might be thinking of another company. I feel like it was Pine though.
I would be surprised if the FSF said that.
I specifically think it was about the modem though, if I recall
Yeah.
correctly.
Because it's a black box.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any modem other than this one that is like truly open, because modems aren't supposed to be open at all.
Yeah, the problem with modems is then you're dealing with radio signals, and radio signals are very, very like highly restricted in pretty much every country.
And, regulated.
Yeah,
So they're not
yeah.
really supposed to be open, but since nobody has done anything malicious yet with this firmware, it's okay.
Sure.
That's how I see it.
Fair, yeah, you know what? Fair enough.
I mean, they haven't done anything. It's been like how many years since that firmware has like come out? They have done nothing. They don't care unless someone actually, starts like mass sending packets everywhere.
Sure.
To the bloody towers.
Don't do that. Bad idea.
Don't do that. Don't get any ideas from that.
So you sort of briefly touched on it earlier. What are the sort of like range of devices that Pine is currently selling? The Pine store is currently selling, because it's kind of like a bit of everything right now, from my understanding.
Yeah, so they're selling the PineSil Smart Soldering Iron. They're selling the Pine Time.
That's
soon
the smartwatch.
Pine Time Pro. Yeah, smartwatches. The Pine Voice, which is the smart home speaker, home assistant.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so those are like the embedded devices. Then you've got stuff like the PinePhone, Pine Tab, Pine Note, which are all like mobile devices, mobile Linux devices. And then you've got the single board computers and like, the compute modules and the cluster board and the blade. You've got all those like boards, those single board computers, like the Rock, the Quartz, and all of that kind of thing. So they do a plethora of embedded and, Linux hardware.
So as community manager, like what is your sort of goal here? Like what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to make sure that silly things don't happen again. That's basically what I want to do. I'll just be real. I want to make sure that the community is like all good. That they are that there is a voice that I will stick up for them, because I talk to TL and I do get whacked in the face
TL
sometimes.
Being
the founder of Pine Store.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do get whacked in the face sometimes because I get a bit like, like, oh. But there are a lot of things that they can't do. Yeah.
So, I guess the main thing you want to talk about here was you when you sent me the message, you're like, hey, you want to talk about the Manjaro fiasco? I wasn't sure what you were specifically referring to, because when I hear Manjaro fiasco, I think of 10 different things.
Oh, yeah, there's all of them. This was like the first one. Actually, yeah.
Well, no, I don't even think of necessarily Pine stuff, right? I think of, like, the first thing that came to my mind...
No, I know.
Yeah, the first thing...
SSL certificates.
Well, no, it's not even that. More recently, there was the split between the company side of things and the community side of things. They wanted to go in two different directions, and people were forking the pro. So I wasn't even sure specifically what you're referring to. So for anyone who might hear Manjaro fiasco and be like, I don't know what we're talking about, what happened here in relation to Pine?
So, what happened with Manjaro is that just trying to get all the information in my head at the same time.
Totally fair. If you need to like jump around, or you want to start at an earlier point, like whatever you need to do.
Yeah, no, I'm just giving it a quick thing because I want a good part to start at.
Well, I guess a good part to start at would be
Well, I want to
Community
introduce the idea, right?
Yeah. I think the best place to start
That's
is
a good
community
idea.
editions,
Okay,
like
let's start there.
how Pine initially was doing things.
Yeah, okay. So there are a lot of projects working on the PinePhone. So every project contributed something, like e.g. 25 Manager, Mobian did that. And then Post-Market OS did a lot of like work, and I think Dan CT12 did a lot of work. So it was a like culmination of work from a lot of different parties.
So Mobian and
came
Post-Market
together.
OS, those were different Linux distros for these devices.
Yes. So, you know, Mobian is Debian, Dan CT Nix is Arch Linux, Post-Market OS is like a bit, you know, a platform for like ARM and just mobile devices in general, based on Alpine. And there was a lot of other projects.
Yes.
Ubuntu Touch did a lot on the modem stack as well. So, as you can tell, there is a lot of work that has been done by multiple projects. This came basically turned into community editions for the PinePhone. So that meant that $10 of each device would go to a project.
Okay. So you would buy the device, and it basically acted as a donation because you bought the Post-Market OS version or the Ubuntu Touch version.
Correct. So you would basically donate to the project itself, and they would get them, you know, the funds to, you know, keep working. Maybe pay a developer, maybe, you know, get hardware, that kind of thing.
Right, and this mattered a lot because the mobile space, even now, is a very small part of the Linux space. There's not it's not as bad as it has been at certain points in time, but it is still like, you know, when people think of Linux, they think of the desktop, they think of servers, they think of like all of these other things, and then somewhere way down the bottom here is sort of like where mobile is.
Yeah, it's very like, it's not very mature yet, I'd say. There's a lot of problems, especially I've had with audio, like get audio routing from the earpiece and all of that kind of thing. But yeah.
Sure.
So what I was getting into from that is eventually we had the Manjaro Community Edition. That was basically, I think that was the last one. And then Pine decided that they wanted Manjaro to be the distro that would, you know, be shipped with the PinePhone. Now, the problem that people had...
And this was back in 2020, yes? By the looks
I think that was 2022?
I'm seeing an announcement from Lucas. PinePhone, August 31st, 2020.
Is that for the community edition?
Yeah, that's for the community edition. That is like the announcement of the device.
For the Manjaro one,
yes,
or the Ubuntu Touch one?
No, the Manjaro device.
Oh, okay. Well, it has been a while.
I just want to get dates clear. The dates aren't the most important part here, but for anyone who's kind of curious.
Of course. And so this was a big problem because Manjaro didn't actually contribute much. So they didn't contribute the modem stack. They didn't contribute, you know, all of the kernel changes. They didn't contribute basically anything. And they just, you know, shipped what other people had worked on. And so people felt wronged because they were just taking all the work, and they were now the, you know, the distro that was shipping on the PinePhone.
So the concern was that it was the one thing they were shipping. People didn't really have concerns when it was just one of the community editions.
Exactly, yeah. But that's not what tipped everything over, I don't think. Like, that was really annoying, but, you know, what actually tipped people off is the whole SPI thing.
Okay. SPI being?
So an SPI is basically an external flash chip, and this is basically used on the PinePhone Pro and Pine Book Pro as a chip to store U-boot on. So it's a chip that gets read before the SD card and before the internal storage. So you can put a bootloader on there, and no matter what, you'll always have a bootloader.
Okay.
The problem is that Manjaro wanted their U-boot version shipping on the Pinebook Pro. Instead of Talboot, which is basically a distribution of U-boot that, it's got quality of life changes and stuff like that. So people felt like PineStore wasn't listening to the community at that point. They were following the project, so to say. They were the project versus the individual. If you get what I mean.
Could you expand upon that?
So, PineStore feel that it is better to basically support a project rather than individuals, right?
Sure.
Because a project has a group of individuals working on the same thing, while individuals themselves can do a lot of great work. They they are contributors to individual contributors to a main goal, if you get what I mean.
I think I understand.
Yeah. So it's easier for Pine to support a project rather than a group of individuals working on something.
Well, it also makes sense that there is more of a legal entity to deal with as well.
Exactly. But I don't like that idea. I want to support individuals as well. But there is something that I will get into later on that I want to talk about, concerning individuals and projects. But yeah, and so that ended up making a lot of people angry because it felt like the individuals weren't getting their voice heard.
Yeah, so in 2022, there was a big blog post that came out from one of the members, Why I Left Pine64. And that was sort of I think that's what really set off in motion, a lot of this, I guess, this distrust, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like it was, a linear thing. It was just there are problems just, kept happening. Why did they have to keep having these discussions about, the same argument over and over again about the SPI chip? I would get angry too. Because it's the community wants this, and it makes sense to put the community's basically what the community wants. So the community wants a bootloader that works for every distro, so everybody is happy, rather than one U-boot for Manjaro.
So with that U-boot for Manjaro, would you still be able to put other distros on there, or is it just always going to try to default to being Manjaro? Was it just a bootloader that was on there? Nothing else?
Yeah, it was a bootloader.
Okay,
I think it's just a certain version of the bootloader.
Okay.
Without all of the niceties that Talboot gives you, because with Talboot you can, press the home button down, the volume button down, and it will boot to the SD card.
Okay, cool. Just want to be on the same page there. So it was just the bootloader that Manjaro wanted to have on every device.
Yeah, and obviously the distro.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. That. Yeah. But
so that made everyone angry,
Sure. Okay. So it was both the bootloader being on the SPI chip rather than Talboot, and then Manjaro being the only version, so that now something that was previously funding other projects, was that so when you're saying that $10 went to the projects, when it just became only Manjaro, was that money still going to Manjaro, or did that whole you buy the device, there's a donation thing stop happening?
I think when it went to the clear back cover,
Mhm.
I don't think that was happening anymore.
Okay, okay,
I don't actually know. That was before me.
okay. Either way,
But if it was the community editions, then it is possible that it was.
okay. Either way, though, money that would have been funding other projects like Moby and Postmarket OS and Ubuntu Touch, who were doing a lot of this like actual important work, that money was no longer being sent to them because there was no longer community editions.
Exactly. So that's why people were mad.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think there was an apology
Mhm.
that came out from Pine as well. So I'm going to bring that up on my screen as well because I don't remember the entire thing. I was reading it before, but it felt quite, combative rather than like it's not a apology to the community. It's more of a response to what Martigan said.
What was the title of that post? Just so I
A
can bring it up.
response to Martigan's blog.
Okay, cool. Just so I can bring it up on my side. To okay, sweet. Yeah, I found it.
Yeah. And so it's, there's a few things that they went through, like we were convinced to flash the, SPI with Talbot on the most recent batch of, the PinePhone Pro, that kind of thing. They were pressured eventually into doing certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually the Pinebook Pro just didn't ship with anything on the SPI
Mm-hmm.
due to all of that.
Uh-huh.
And Martigan obviously, fed up with the whole situation, wanted to, just leave, get that stress off, which is fair.
Mhm.
And I think he's doing like some audio hardware stuff now. I met up with him at FOSDEM this year. He's doing some really cool audio stuff.
Mm-hmm. If I understand correctly, he was a Postmarket OS guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So he's doing a lot of the camera stuff.
Mhm.
He made Megapixels.
Mm?
Megapixels. So Megapixels is the camera program that ran on the original PinePhone Pro, and then I believe Purism forked it to make Millipixels.
Okay. Okay.
That kind of thing. So it's an important piece of the story,
Right.
So
Right.
Postmarket OS had the camera stack. The Mobian had the, I think, like parts of the modem, and then Ubuntu Touch other parts of the modem, all of that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was missing.
Okay, so
And yeah.
what happened with this situation then? Where did you want to go from here?
So I wanted to basically talk a little bit about, and the importance of the community editions, because a lot of people have, asked when are they coming back, and even the like Drew DeVault post. So that's a response to Pine64's response.
The response to the response to the response, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since like nobody actually apologized, may I just point out, interestingly, I don't think that this response to Martigan's blog, so by Pine, like on the Pine blog, was actually written by my mate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that wasn't him. I had this discussion last year that it wasn't actually Marek, like Gamey. That wasn't him who wrote it.
Uh-huh.
That was something that I found interesting, and I'm not going to go much into that, but my mate didn't write that.
So I understand if you don't want to go into it, but like basically what you're saying is there was a corporate response made through the community manager's name.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not happy about that, but I'm not going to go into that too much.
Mm-hmm.
But so I want to talk about the community editions now, and why Pines, we've already gone into why Pine64 chooses to fund projects over individuals.
Mhm.
But and you've also gone into why it's a challenge.
Mhm.
It's because you need an organization to put all of this money under.
Mhm.
So I've got like an example, right? With the PinePhone community editions, you needed an organization to send to, but you also lose money from that because of tax reasons. So you don't actually get the full amount.
Mhm.
All of that kind of thing. So that's really frustrating. You can't just drop it into someone's PayPal account. I wish you could, but
Well, yeah,
it's got to be official. It's donations and all
I'm
that.
not going to encourage tax evasion.
Neither am I, but you got to do it the official way.
Mhm.
And, that annoys people that, you don't get the full amount anymore.
Right.
And with the Pine Note, how far do you go back?
Mhm.
Like, you've got a project who has got like a couple of individuals on it.
Mhm.
Actually, no, this is just an individual's project. So HRDL's Arch Linux firmware.
Mhm.
They did a lot of the display driver and all of that, kernel optimization and all of that kind of thing. So they made it actually usable.
Mhm.
But then Maximilian made the factory firmware. So he's gone off. He's doing live stuff now, but he did a lot of work too to actually get the second Pine Note batch to to the masses to actually sell again. And if you want to then you've got like a usable thing, because the Arch Linux image is using Sway and all of that, a custom Sway like interface and all that config and all of that.
Mhm.
Then you've got Quill, which is like a nice to use interface, easy to use, all set up. That is something that Pine would want to do, right? Because it's got everything set up, but it's lying on all of the people's hard work. And then you even go back even further, the developer editions before any of the community edition Pine Note batches, all of that work, all of that bring up work. So how far do you actually go back on who to send the money to? And when it's done by a bunch of individuals, all of that work, this is going back to Manjaro, this is a bunch of people's work.
Mhm.
If Quill OS people did a bunch of work, they've done a lot of work, but so have the people who've done the bring up and the bring up before that, and the people who actually got the device to manufacturing again. So it's just like, how do you do that?
Right, so you're trying to think of how do you actually support the people who did the work when it was something put together by a ton of different volunteers across a bunch of different projects, and nobody's really keeping track of that. Obviously there's the Git history, but nobody's keeping track of, okay, this person did this specific thing, this person did this specific thing. You sort of have to, if you wanted to go back and compensate people for the work they've done in the past, you would need to sort of reverse engineer that from the very few artifacts that do exist, and then how you decide what each of those changes is actually worth. There's no real good way to sort of do that compensation as a retrospective thing.
Yeah, it's actually horrible. It's the worst thing ever. It's easier when there's a project behind it. All of the people that worked on the device are in one place. Okay, there's an organization, you can send that money. That never happens. Because there's so many people that are just working on their own, and then they just happen to benefit everyone else. How do you get that person that money?
Yeah, and you talked quite a bit about Quill OS and Mobian and Ubuntu Touch, there are going to be these random little projects that are unaffiliated with any of these projects that is used by all of them. If we want to talk about the desktop space, right? Talk about something like open printing. Open printing isn't associated with any individual project, but is used by all of them. So there are going to be these components sort of outside of all of that as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a really difficult issue. How do you solve that?
Mhm.
Like, do you just add everyone into an organization? There's like money, like you have to pay money to create something like that.
Mhm.
And what if everyone is in different countries?
Mhm.
This is why Pine Store's accountant had a nightmare of a time with the PinePhone community editions. Like, bro never wanted to ever do that again. And I want it to happen, but it's, I'm like, I had these discussions like last year with a bunch of the Pine64 community members, like insiders and all of that. Like, how would this actually work? And I don't know if it can. Because there's so many people that you want to get, credited and all of that.
One thing you did briefly touch on earlier, which I do want to jump back to, is you
Yeah.
mentioned developer editions in there. And I have seen some confusion over the years of, oh, well, what are these developer editions? What are these community editions? Like, how, like, because people see them, they see the same device and think, what is the difference here?
So the developer editions are usually versions of first versions of the hardware that aren't given to, just like insiders. So those are ones that are actually able to be purchased by developers. Now, there are people who aren't developers who end up buying them, but you'll get one if you are a developer. These are the initial bring up hardware versions, basically the first versions available to the public.
Okay, but and then the community editions are, well, the idea there was it's somewhere further along that line, and they ship with these different distros that are on them, I guess.
Yes, so
yes.
Your Mobian edition, all of that kind of thing. But curiously, the Pinenote Community Edition wasn't really, a community edition. It was, it shipped with community firmware, but we never managed to get Max that, funding or anything like that. The reason why that was, this is another interesting piece of information, is that if we want a community edition to happen, it has to be before the final price of the device is set. Because you've got a SKU, right? A code for a device. We have to, ask the community, are you willing to pay $10, $5 more for a device? If it's a positive reception, Pine Store would be happy to, put that price up and fund it, as long as there's like, an organization that it's like feasible to do. But in this case, I do not think we were quick enough. I don't think I even like knew much about it, like what they were doing with the Pinenote beforehand. None of got added to the Telegram group, and I reckon that money, that price had already been set at that stage by Pine Store.
So one of the things you mentioned in DMs was the whole idea of these community editions is logistically very difficult. And I assume that's part of it, but I'm assuming there's other things that were a challenge here as well.
There's so many challenges. It's like, accounting, like how do you get that money to projects? Do the projects have an organization? How do you, get that funding to individuals and all of that? It's just a massive mess that Pine Store, frankly, does not want to deal with, because in the end, that's not even our decision. Where, as a community, we kind of just have to hope that Pine Store is on board with our ideas. Yeah, that's basically like the logistical nightmare that I'm thinking of, that I'm talking about is, the like monetary logistical problem and the contributor problem, the projects over individuals problem that I've been trying to figure out for a while, and it's not something that I can really do because you need that project to actually send the money to that organization.
So if you could just change snap of a finger, change things overnight, what I can't click my fingers. If you could just change things overnight, what would you like to see happen?
I want to see more repairable devices because sometimes Pine Store will use go to a different manufacturer's shell, like the factory that makes the shell for devices that aren't theirs, and they're like, hey, can we buy some of these shells? Yes. That saves money because they don't need to create a new production line,
right?
But that means that it's not as repairable. The PinePhone though, Pine Tab 2, Pine, all of that kind of thing, those are in-house design. But the Pine Tab 2 isn't. I wouldn't take that apart. I'd probably break mine. PinePhone is easy though. Actually, recently they Pine Store just released the 3D files, like the full 3D file, not just a back case. So you can actually 3D print your own, maybe the frame. I want to see that happen. I want to see if I can do that on my 3D printer, but I have an Ender 3 Pro, so that sucks.
Yeah, I did see that. That is cool.
I want to see more repairability. Pardon me, repairability in devices, like you being able to possibly, like someone mentioned on Mastodon a while ago, make your own device. Like buy the parts, print your own parts, like frame and all of that.
Right.
I think that would be an interesting concept, but I don't know if the feasibility is up there.
Yeah, phones especially are difficult. Any sort of small scale device is just naturally going to be pretty difficult.
Yes.
And I guess there is the idea where you can sell the parts and you can then save cost on, you can sell it to someone cheaper because you don't have to pay for the, what do you call it? The actual construction of the device. But I don't know. I do think that's cool as an idea from a repairability front, because if you obviously can put the parts in there yourself, then you can, you can probably buy repair parts for it, and you can have repair parts for it. But at the same time, I see the dog in the background.
I wouldn't trust my PLA filament to hold my PinePhone together. You've got better filament, but I wouldn't trust mine. Need a good printer and all that kind of thing. There's a couple more things as well.
Sorry,
there was just a couple more things I wanted to touch on.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Before we go as well. One thing about Pine is that they don't take any external funding. So to, avoid any conflict of interest. So I think that's a good thing that they do. Because, some single board computer manufacturers do that. They will take external funding and all of that kind of thing. And then those people who give them money have, or projects give Pine money, and they can't get any, view on what they do. Say on what they do.
Right.
You get what I mean?
So they're kind of beholden to these other companies who would give them money.
Yeah. So they won't do that. They have slim pardon me, slim margins and all of that. So that the devices are relatively cheap. They're not cheap as, as Samsung because of, economy of scale and all of that. But they try and make them as cheap as possible. Like as I said, by using shells from different companies sometimes, and using getting the community to make the software, and then all of that and then sending devices to developers and all of that kind of thing.
You mentioned
And
Samsung.
they don't
Go on.
Yeah, and they don't take any kinds of contracts for like developers or anything like that.
You mentioned Samsung there. It's not just economies of scale with a company like that. They also have vertical integration. You have Samsung Display, who provides the display tech to Samsung Electronics, and there's all of this in-house. They're technically different companies for legal purposes, but all of this in-house production as well also manages to reduce costs in a way that just would not be possible unless you're at the same kind of scale as them.
Yeah, it's difficult. So the PinePhone, ends up being quite a lot more than a second-hand OnePlus 6 or whatever like that. Or a Samsung, even like their cheapest Samsung phone, like brand new, is cheap.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I have always kind of heard confusion about from people. It's like, why would I, why would I buy this when it has this level of performance? It's this price when you can buy, if you want to have mobile Linux, you can buy a second-hand Android device that is known to be supported well. And I think, trying to sort of explain that value to people is difficult. Because if they don't see the value in a device that is trying to be fully open, how do you show them and convince them that is something which is worth even considering as a value?
Yeah, exactly. You just buy the better, cheaper second-hand option.
So, I guess when you've talked about funding projects over individuals and this sort of funding of different projects is sending out devices, I guess how do you approach deciding what or who needs to be given a device here?
So sometimes TL, like the founder, will want, a project like me to go out and say, hey, would you be interested? No incentive to do anything with it. We'll just send you one,
right,
like a device kind of thing. If a project is doing really good work around Pine and all of that, we'll send them devices and all of that. So there's just a bunch of if there is a project and they're doing stuff related to Pine products, we will send them a device. We know they're doing work and all of that kind of thing. Obviously, we'll send them a device kind of thing. If they're working on a Pine Note, we'll give them, if there is another Pine Note, we'll give them one. Yeah, that kind of thing. And if they need a new board revision or something, they're doing important work, we'll give them, prototypes. Like the PineTime Pro prototype, we were giving them out to a couple of people. So obviously JF from the Infinitime project is, I think, Gary from Wasp OS and all of that kind of thing.
Infinitime. Is that one? Is it like a OS for the firmware for this device? I see.
Yeah. So that's the default firmware. And Gamey also has one. Game Blaster has one too.
Okay. Yeah, especially the wearable space is a space I've just never really. I have very, very little knowledge of the wearable open space. I have a smartwatch from 10 years ago here. This is what I wear daily. That's pretty much it.
I mean, it works, right? Is the
Yeah.
battery fine?
Yeah, it's totally fine. It lasts a week.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's a slow device. It was never a fast device anyway. I do have a new Pebble here that I should use more, but
Ooh.
you know, as I said, I kind of just wear a watch for heart rate tracking, and that's about it. Nothing else. So I don't really need to really delve into this space. It's just something I've not really spent much time dealing with. I'm too focused on desktop stuff to get involved in other parts of the open space.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Pine is going into, more embedded devices again because of the DRAM shortage. They're not they're not producing any more Linux devices at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever stock is left that's what the Pine stores are selling.
I hadn't even considered that for a small scale company like Pine. Like the DRAM, like it's bad for a company like Valve, right? Like you've probably seen all of the issues with getting Steam machines out there, the pricing of the Steam machine. I hadn't even considered that from an even smaller company, for like a company like a Pine. I know,
Yeah,
I know, System 76 have been having a lot of issues with that as well.
yeah, I can imagine. Their laptops are really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to buy one while I was in high school, and then I realized, oh,
Yeah, no, I get it.
they're really cool though. They look cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Yeah, no,
never seen a device with core boot.
Are you okay? Well, a new device, because you can, if you go on eBay, you'll find plenty of core booted ThinkPads from 15 years ago.
I think we're off track again.
I think we're off track, but it's fine. That happens.
It's fine.
Sometimes.
We're at the end, aren't we? Though.
I don't know how long you want to go for.
I do. Sorry, I did have to head off at some point to pick up, my brother.
Oh, okay. No, that's all good. That's good. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on then?
I'm not really sure. I think I've done a pretty broad discussion of why it's quite a difficult problem and all of that, and how Manjaro is a good example of what not to do. Again, don't do that.
That quote can be taken to talk about so many different things, but wouldn't
feel free.
We don't need to get into that right now.
I'll get it into next time, the Manjaro episode. I don't know.
Just the entire time just talking about Manjaro. Talking about the many such cases of things happening with that project.
The restructuring or something.
Yes, yeah, that was a big drama recently as well. Yeah, I don't know.
I like the way you say Philip Mueller.
Sorry?
I saw the last time. Philip Mueller.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the last time that you mentioned him in the video. You did a video on the drama.
Oh yeah.
And I like the way that you pronounce his name.
What did I say? Did I say something weird? Wait, did I pronounce it weirdly?
I just liked it.
Okay.
That's it. That's as deep as it goes.
Fair enough. Okay. I guess. Do you want to? Yeah, if you just want to end it here, we can do that. Unless there's nothing.
Okay, let's end it super awkwardly, like we started it super awkwardly.
Sure. Yeah. I guess there's a shorter one, but hey.
Yeah, I've got limited time.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Unfortunately, yeah.
If you want to direct people to links they can go to check things out, feel free to tell people where they can find things.
I like Postmarket OS. That's cool. Go to Postmarket OS. Open your device today or something. Go to Pine64.org for the community website. Got all that documentation, good stuff. Pine64.com if you want to buy the devices. That's Pine Store's website. I forgot what Mobians is. Mobian.org, I think.
Just search Mobian, you'll find it pretty quickly.
You'll find it. No, you'll get the Sonic characters. That's what they're called.
Okay. First in the Google search is the Wikipedia page for the Mobian project. Second,
Oh, that's good.
Second is the Sonic stuff. And all the images are Sonic.
And yeah, mainly just projects that are awesome. And Dan CT Nix, he's been making Dan CT12 has been making a bunch of demo scene intros for his software releases. Those are pretty cool.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Sweet. Nothing else?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. I guess in a outro we'll sign off. Cool. So my main channel is Brody Robertson. I do Linux videos there 6-ish days a week. Sometimes I stream as well. I've got the gaming channel, Brody on Games. Right now I'm playing through Like a Dragon and Metal Gear Solid 3. If you're watching the video version of this, you can find the audio version, obviously every podcast platform at Tech Over Tea. The video is on YouTube at Tech Over Tea. We have video on Spotify as well. How do you want to sign us off? What do you want to say?
Shaka.
Perfect.